Well, despite an all-party meeting giving the government the go-ahead for a constitutional amendment or reservation based on promotion, there's a fresh hurdle. NDTV has learned that the country's top law officer, the Attorney General, has cautioned the government that proposed amendments may be challenged in court. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister had told an all-party meeting that the government would bring a constitutional amendment that was legally sustainable. Let's go across to Sunil Prabhu, who's got this exclusive story. Well, morning Sunil, does that mean that the amendments may not stand legal scrutiny, and on what grounds?
That's right. It's clearly by the Attorney General. He was sought his advice just before the all-party meeting. He was unable to give that advice, but it's now come to the government, and as the Congress party and the government said that they will move a constitutional amendment which will be legally sustainable. The Attorney General was asked his opinion whether this will be legally sustainable, and he has cautioned the government with a nuanced no, saying quite emphatically that it's not possible to stand the scrutiny of law. There are three aspects: inadequacy, overall administration and backwardness, which need to be looked into. You need to make those amendments accordingly. But this is a 7-judge bench which has decided in the Supreme Court, and it works on the basic structure of the Constitution, and he's really told the entire political class, be it the BJP, be it the Congress, be it the Samajwadi Party, and really the people who have been behind it, the BSP, that you can't go ahead with this, and this could be challenged in a court of law and will not stand the scrutiny of the court. There have been, as the Prime Minister indicated at the all-party meeting, there have been a number of attempts to make these amendments, and they have not been found valid by the court, by the Supreme Court. And so now we'll have to wait and see whether the Prime Minister and the government does go ahead with that constitutional amendment. But nevertheless, the country's top law officer, the Attorney General, cautioning all political parties that if you are attempting to make reservations and promotions for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, it has far-reaching consequences and it affects the basic structure of the Constitution, and you will need to take that into account when you go ahead, and it will be once again a confrontation between the executive, the legislature versus the judiciary.
Right, Sunil, so it's ironic in a case where the government has the backing of the opposition from all parties, there is a legal hurdle. So it's going to be the government versus the judiciary now.
Yes, as I said, it's not only the government versus the judiciary, but also the legislature which will be included, because after all, a constitutional amendment requires 2/3 of the members present and voting, both in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, to make it a law and to amend the Constitution, as has been desired by the various political parties, because the Supreme Court has not upheld it. And it is in that context that we will have to see the Attorney General cautioning all political parties and the government in particular that if you go ahead, it will not stand the scrutiny of law. But if you still persist, I give you my opinions. You please take those three aspects: the backwardness, inadequacy of representation and overall administration efficiency, before you go ahead and make any change and make validating clauses. But nevertheless, it will definitely be a subject of a legal debate. Once again, it will come up in the Supreme Court, and it might not stand the scrutiny of the courts.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.